what's interesting is that we did this and it automatically, almost probably right at the end of it, it was like, shit, what could we do? Like, what actually could we do? Mm-hmm. Like, first try, badass result. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I think it was what I tell you, like, you think it, I'll figure out a way to get it done. That's kind of...
It's dangerous as fuck. This is the Uncensored Podcast with Robert Peppo.
Do you think people will vote for me?
She came home from DECA and was like, I want to do one. Like, what is the board cost? What do we need? Like the microphones and this and this and that. I think she kind of fell off.
Say something loud kind of into yours.
Something loud kind of.
There you go. I'm keeping that in there. Okay, yeah, we're good. Well, I guarantee Ellie would fucking crush it though.
Right?
I think so.
Turns out everything she does in that business kind of entrepreneurial world so far has worked out pretty fucking good as a young kid.
Right.
What the fuck?
I hired her to do my like website and everything.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because she was like, I was like, yeah, I need to hire. So she's like, I'll do it. I was like, all right. She fucking built me a website. I was like, shit, girl, okay. We're 15, making moves.
Damn. I wonder why.
Apple does not fall far.
You know what's kind of funny? These move. And we could have brought ourselves in. I wanted to keep like the true integrity of the truck for the video portion.
Right.
But I mean, that's 18 inches. That brings us like real close. You think we think we do it on the fly? We're good.
Let it roll.
Yeah, let it roll.
See what happens.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So also I've been toying with not doing like intros, just like getting straight into it.
That's fine.
And at this point, lots of people already know who you are and what they've seen from us obviously doing this. But yeah, today I want to deep dive into fucking doing whatever it takes to do some shit that you've not done.
Yeah.
I have not done. And for those watching, look how it turned out. Like, I don't give a fuck. Our shit looks dope.
It does.
And it turned out really fucking good. And the consensus overall has been ridiculous. So when you undertake something ridiculous and you think you can do good shit like we do, you get a ridiculous result.
This is the product of fuck it. Is really what it is. Like
Leave that on the side of the truck.
yeah.
Fuck
Or
it.
on the inside.
At least on a shirt.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know.
The product of fuck it.
I mean, we could put that
We should
right here.
there. Right, because nobody would see it.
Yeah. Only the ones who
Just
know,
the
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a product. Hey, can you build a food truck? Ah, fuck it. Sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But that's how it works. And so most people know my message is sort of fuck it, but also push it. Right. So like for
Yes.
normal people out there, it would be a push it, try something. You probably can do it. Alex has to deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's also why we need a barndominium,
Yeah.
because we have all run out of space, especially for this big ass thing.
Yes.
And all the SUVs and different shit. But
Boats.
seeing how something turned into a huge boat that takes up the whole garage. Yeah.
Sorry.
Tell me one more time, Rob, how much room it takes up in my garage.
All of it.
Well, you know, there's that. No comment. But,
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Well,
Yeah.
shit. All right.
well, it was also, so it technically started because of you. Cause I said, I ain't going to get a truck unless you approve it. Right. One, because, you know, mechanically, is it sound? And then two, like, is this a good shell? Like, can we work with this? Like visually, I'm like, I guess, you know,
It's a truck.
but like really going down there, I'm like, dude, you gotta like kind of prove this shit. Like, yeah, sure. Great. It says Peppo's logo on there, but fuck, I am not going to do this part of it.
Right.
And as we all know, like we went down there because you're like, yeah, I think this might be the one.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we went down there 2 or 3 times, you know,
Had to be sure.
and we fucking were.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that was the right move.
Because we looked at another one. We looked at that other one, and I think the door was a little different in the back. The ceiling was a little different, and it was smaller. And it wasn't until we were like both in it, which also I think we kind of broke into it.
We did.
because the
But
guy
you
was
did.
right.
But
Yeah,
we did
well,
because I approved and I was with you. I was the lookout.
no, I wasn't always a plumber. Sorry. But
I was also a hoodlum.
you know, whatever.
Not
But
a
when we were
locksmith, a
both in
hoodlum.
there, it was like, yeah, this is too small. This isn't gonna work. I think when we went into this one, there were shelves and stuff in here or whatever. But even that, it was kind of like, no, all right, this will do.
So if you haven't checked out my Instagram, what he's talking about is sort of in there in like a. Oh wait, did I put that one? No, I didn't. I just put the time lapse one out. I should post the during befores and afters. That video was cool.
It is.
I mean, it's much cooler to us, right? But it actually gives you a good perspective of. It literally came night and day fucking difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, it had all that shit in there, but you knew, okay, whatever it took to do that.
I mean, I really
shit.
didn't. I was like, yeah, all right, I'll figure it out.
I've known Brad for a long time, and there is not a single project that like he has come up with or like, hey, I think I want to do this, and I'm like, you've never done that before in your life, and he was like, yeah, no, I'll figure it out, and every single fucking time he studies it for like he doesn't sleep, so like 48 to 72 hours straight, like he is on that. And by the time those 72 hours over, he's like, yeah, I got it, no worries. And like fucking kills it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Like your brain is just it's so rad to like watch your brain do the thing. And then do the thing.
And that's what's cool about getting together with someone who can't do that, but like I can see it, but I can't get it out, right? You put it together and you can get it out or whatever, but the partnering of that, find that thing, somebody find it. If you like got it locked, because like I have it stuck in here. Like I got to find some motherfuckers that can do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think you saw some of that because I would drag you to Menards or wherever, and like you'd be like, let's do this. I'd be like, all right, I gotta think through it. And sometimes it was just walking down aisles and being like, oh, that'll work for there, and you know.
So he'd come home and say, you'd be like, Brad didn't write anything down, but he just knew what he did.
Oh yeah, I
It's
don't.
infuriating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I can't follow along.
My
And like
brain did that.
the first couple times I'd like have my notebook like, let me scribe and like.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts.
You already,
Right. Yeah.
you already got it, but like it can't, right? Because
Yeah.
you got to cycle through that. It's the same way I do in like the store, right? Because it's natural, but I got to cycle through it. So she's always like, "What can I help you with?" I'm like, I gotta work through it first.
The way I explain it to people is like if somebody comes up to the counter in there and like orders 4 sandwiches, you don't write it down. You've done it your whole life. You're like, yeah, it's like that's what this is to me. So when I go into
Like
whatever,
mechanics-wise.
mechanics. So when I go into like a store, like I don't have to write it down. Like it's all up here. Like they're like, oh yeah, I need this. I probably need this much of this. I need this much of this, and
Well, it's super wild to like us for this type of project, which is the same way as it is maybe in there for some people watching it, right? But to see it actually happen on like a high level is fucking dope, because almost every part of it, right, kind of happened in like, okay, the demo has to go first, right? I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean, right? And then you're like, boom, I got this tool and there's sparks flying fucking everywhere, right? I'm like, oh, this is demo. Bet, right? Because like demo could be in a traditional store, knocking down wall, it's drywall, it's whatever. And here, like, what do you mean? What are we gonna do, right? And I can, and everyone knows this is no thing. I don't work with power tools and shit. So the also part of helping is like, fuck, am I supposed to know this? Like, don't give me that tool. Like that shit looks dangerous as fuck.
That's my life. It's just like, what can I help with? Music,
Yeah.
just stand there, dude. Like, don't.
Yeah. I'm good with like gun, that's dangerous, or knives and shit. Not those things.
Yeah.
Those first couple, whatever the fuck it was, those grinders you were using. Oh my God.
Yeah.
First of all, they're violent as fuck. And then the amount of sparks, I'm like, we're starting a fire for sure.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, dog, this is how it works.
It's fine.
Well, even when we were doing the FRP and like you had figured out how to use like this spreader
glue?
guy.
Yeah.
I like came here and I was like, I can do this, and I started and I was watching you do it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was like, I'm gonna leave you to it. You look like you got it squared away.
That was interesting because because it's so messy, and two, like he wanted to go at the right pace and do it correctly and stuff. And I'm I want to contribute, and I'm impatient, right? And I was aggressively impatient, and I couldn't do either of them.
Yes.
So I'm fucking like, and it makes a mess too. So I'm like,
Oh, it's the worst.
shit, this is my nemesis. And Brad's like, no, listen, do it this way, do this section first. And then like Ethan even came and like, it was a big mess.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, But it was like that every part, pretty much. With the, you looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what we'll get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. But wait.
Write some shit on the wall, and you're like,
And then
read
Oh,
back
yeah.
that number, and you're like, what fucking number?
Which one? Like,
Yeah, underneath.
he's like, the
all
arrow's
this-
going this way, that one's going this way, that number.
Mm-hmm.
32.
Underneath all this FRP are like insane hieroglyphics of arrows and numbers and things that only make sense to me. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. And it worked because also we weren't doing it in a traditional shop, right?
No.
We had a game plan what we were doing with like whatever we would need, right? The mattress or Eric's shop or in here or out of your truck, right? And usually we'd be pretty prepared. There wasn't a ton we'd have to go out for because we would like prep a couple days before, grab something or whatever. But like come to cut and we're like, oh shit, we got to cut something. Okay. It was outside, inside, on the
Yeah.
table, on the dumpster, like, and it worked. And
Yeah,
it worked
I cut-
perfectly.
I cut all this FRP
Yeah.
like crisscross applesauce in the back of the
Yeah.
mattress just because it was the only like flat surface I could like
Yeah.
work on.
And half that time it was fucking winter, so it was cold out.
Oh yeah,
So I was like, man, fuck.
yeah.
And we didn't want to interrupt Eric in the shop all the time. Luckily, it seemed to be pretty flexible. We were able
Yeah.
to do kind of as much as we could, which worked out really good. But each step of that way, it was like, okay, well, how are we going to do this part today? And to me, it was literally like,
Yeah.
I was more like, we're going to do it? Okay. Like, let me just show up and like be a body.
Yeah.
I can hold that thing over here. And I would do good cleanup, I think.
Phenomenal cleanup.
Okay, I know how to do this part.
I mean, and like, I'd be like, "Hey, where is this at?" You'd be like, it's in this bucket over here. I know where it is." Like, you knew where.
It's the only thing I could do. It was like, okay, I'm going to try and keep some sort of order so I know what something might be.
Which is good because I'm like a bull in a china shop when I work, and there's just shit everywhere. And
Yeah.
you're like, I got it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you would like,
Yeah.
it was like magic. I'd come in the next day and be like, "Oh, it's all pristine. It's nice."
The trick was the sweeping, but with a fucking blower. That's a game changer.
That's how I clean my van. That's how I clean my truck. I clean everything
Oh, yeah.
with that motherfucker.
Game changer.
Yes. Yes.
That was a clutch tool.
Yeah.
That's what you got it for a gift.
No, that too. Joe, she got me a shop vac for my birthday or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah. Which, because Eric had the super duty fucking one, whatever. And were you there when I turned it on? So I thought I was vacuuming something, but it was on blow.
Oh, yeah. No.
And I blew the whole fucking thing on the air and gave it Malcolm like,
Well,
now they're covered. And they're like, I just swept that over. I'm like, I thought I was going to pick it up. But that shit, like an actual shop vac is a game changer too. I turned it on for the first time and did the fucking vac. I was like, this is how they get those lines.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
it is OCD satisfying.
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole of watching car detail YouTube videos, and that's how I like attempt to sleep at night because it's just like, that's so satisfying.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, oh, I should do that more. With all the time I have to, do stuff. But I'm like, I keep telling her, I'm like, oh, we're gonna clean the Lincoln. It's gonna be great. We're gonna all the things I see on, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And she's like, yeah, I'll just.
Yeah, and that fucking boat takes 2 hours probably, right? So
That
Dude,
boat.
that took us like weeks to
Take-
do the boat.
Yeah.
no, I mean because your car is big.
Oh,
The Lincoln's big.
the boat. on the
and
Lincoln,
I'm
yes.
I'm sure the boat's
Yeah.
probably
We
worse.
tried last summer. We didn't take the boat out, but we pulled the boat out of the garage and like
Took it out of the garage.
I heard it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you heard it.
Them motherfuckers brapping.
No,
it's
that's.
pretty good. We're keeping it this year. But we
keeping
like
it.
started detailing that, and it was like, dude, it took us like fucking 2 weeks. I feel like.
It was a process to like cut and
Oh,
buff
my
and
God.
clean and
Yeah.
looks great in my garage.
Hey, listen, that's kind of a
We
good
should
thing
do a
anyway.
Podcast on the boat.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a power on there? I mean, it can record for as long as that can maintain power.
I can figure something out.
There you go.
Oh,
See? Do you see how this fucking happened?
Yeah, I can figure
It was 50-50 how this shit had to fucking happen. Now you're understanding. Y'all think I'm just wild. I think I just don't know how to control myself as much as other people. That's all.
Wait till you see the sandwich gun.
Oh boy.
Listen. Listen. It just got me real excited. And I haven't forgotten. It's in my notes. If you thought this was like, oh, look what they did. They're there now. Oh.
So professional.
What happened? See, what happened is, don't reveal the secrets, because if anybody copied those, our sandwich gun would be used for something else.
It's true.
Launch it directly at somebody's face.
Yes.
But there would be something coming.
There's
Probably
works in
fall
progress.
time, because we're going to be really busy this summer, all of us. But yes, it's a fucking for sure yes. Yeah,
That's what happens when you say fuck it.
exactly.
You know?
People, we say that, right? And I don't know that people believe it. They're like, oh, that's funny. You're just saying it. No, look what happened.
It's a lifestyle. Really.
It
It's
is.
the lifestyle.
It is. And I actually like it.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I think it's the best way,
Yeah.
because it keeps shit interesting. It actually gets out of you what I think the best part. Because look, we didn't have this just a couple months ago talking about fuck it, like
Yeah.
whatever. And then we actually did the fuck it part. And so I don't know if it does it justice on here. People will know when we roll this out and they understand it and see it in real life. Like some of our people did, obviously. But if you actually do it, same thing with like franchising. Like I didn't fucking know how to franchise. Like I thought I understood it conceptually, right? But then you have to do it. There's a whole lot of that, right? Just like building this thing is fucking hard. It's a fucking lot. Like it demands a lot of you. Whether or not we can control it, because like we own our own businesses, we can't. Not really. It's still like a demanding thing. Like, because you have to think about it. Then you have to go purchase material. Then you have to fucking be here. Then like on jobs, shit goes wrong. Like, actually, I don't think much went wrong here because we planned it out like in like this is the phase we're doing. It's like floor. You know how to do that. Not much is going to go wrong because you know how to do that.
Yeah.
So with the fuck it part, we actually have like a thought process with it, so you can control the chaos part. But just like franchising, I didn't know how to do it, but it was like, fuck it. Like there's got to be more to this for us. Like I know what we can do. And then you actually get that, right?
I think that even for me, like I was, working today and I had a new guy working with me and just kind of explaining that to him of just like kind of the sky's the limit on stuff and the way I work through stuff and just being able to be like, oh yeah, we're just going to do this today and then kill it at what you do. It's definitely a game changer when you can focus your mind that way, You know
how I also saw it too? It was kind of like the defining factors, like us going to Florida. One, we like the warm weather and all that shit, right? Yeah. And then having like long talks, because we went like 2 hours and then 2 hours and yeah. And but it's like I also then now start to feel like what you can do. I'm like some of my thing, and she knows this, and you guys do too, but for the people, I try and get that out of them, like what I'm doing with Malcolm and Gabe and shit. I'm trying to get that out of them, right? Because I see a potential, right? And you've proved it in business, like they haven't proved it yet, but how we think, I'm like, I know something's like locked up in there. Let me see if I can fucking do something with that, right? As a win-win. 'Cause this is together, but that's how I try and see things, like her potential in doing the numbers and order taking and controlling the books and shit in the back. Like I saw that. She didn't just start doing that. It's like, oh, so you're organized and good handwriting and shit. Like it started super basic and shit. Yeah. Many, many years ago. I mean, it's the same thing I do kind of. So like in Florida, when we're talking about boats, and then we went down to see trailers, which we liked and thought were fucking awesome, and then didn't get to see them, which is, I'm so fucking thankful that it was like dumb that like we thought they would just be open for a showroom and we'd see them. That's where they're made. There's gonna be a bunch, and like, fuck.
No, we just went to a sketchy parking lot in like some weird
like,
part of Miami, and I just started pounding on doors.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, we're here.
Like blacked out, dead bolted graffiti everywhere. Like
I
this
was like,
is
somebody's in here.
This is the
Boom, boom,
address.
Boom, boom, you know.
Alex and I are in the car like, God, please don't let anything happen to them.
Yeah.
It's like, I got a knife.
Yeah. Luckily, we feel fairly good in probably any situation. So, see what happens. Like, if you're gonna mess with two people, maybe not us.
Right.
I don't know. Just like maybe like, ooh, it's an even match.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like
It's enough to give somebody pause.
for sure,
And
and,
that's
be
all you
like,
need.
this is a bad area. Why are they here?
Right.
Are they bad? Are we bad? What?
Right,
Wait.
yeah.
But I couldn't imagine that have been one any better, or that it would have meant as much for sure. even if we had to like do stuff and like put it together and tell them, no fucking way. Plus, when you actually saw them, you said they were pretty small.
Yeah.
This is not. We could do anything, right? So one of the things was like, how do we get the most out of it to be able to seize all of the opportunity? This is a how. Like I put together some spreadsheets and shit, and like kind of like we exchanged pictures and like you're on Marketplace. Look what this person did. I don't think we saw any that actually turned out this way, like so specific to us, but also done in a different, right, open way. I don't recall seeing anything the way in which we did it for us.
One thing that was cool was like I had the concept of like, all right, I think I kind of know how I can do the shell, but like the layout and stuff, like that's not my area at all. That was your guys of kind of running through stuff. And you remember being in here when it was just all metal and all of us kind of like trying to powwow of like, oh, where's the table go? And how's this work? And like just running through, like physically running through all of it. And I think because of that, that's why it turned out so good and it is really set perfect for what you guys do, is because it took that time to figure it out.
And that's what's better. It's set perfect for what we do, right?
Yep.
And us being able to do that ourselves and being so this would have taken a unique situation for anybody else to pull it off this way. One that's like technically correct for how we operate, and then technically correct for like being built well. That, and then marrying those two things together and actually getting it done on time, right? Because we ended up basically at the day that like I put random as shit
out of the blue, like, hey, this needs to be done by this date. And I remember like in my head quickly doing the math and being like, oh fuck.
I'm pretty sure you were like, I don't know, man. But like I started to see how you were doing things together, right? So like I may push it, but I'm also gonna try to be realistic as much as I can be. But it like made sense to me. So I was like, well, it also makes sense for like when your busy season starts, when like the 40 other reasons why it goes into it. We took the heaters home.
Oh, I'm good.
All right. But I've always done that too. Put an aggressive timeline because just like building this, well, we didn't know, like we thought, just like franchising. Well, if I don't put a timeline, like I can continue to let it go, you know? So I've done that kind of with everything.
I'm guilty of that. Of like, oh, I'm going to do this, but I don't really put
we all are.
that, I'm going to do this by this date. There's never that day. It's like, I'm going to do this. So the timeline just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And it was funny, like when you shot that date, I was like, fuck, I don't know. But then it almost kind of became like this challenge, right? Because you were so driven and like, I was like, no, maybe I could do this, and maybe I can do this. And then it just happened, it just, because it was like, all right, well, it's gotta happen by now. So let's make it happen. And honestly, like you got to finish it sometime. So why not that date? And truly, I'm glad it did because it almost worked out perfectly schedule wise and everything we were trying to do. And, for lack of a better term, this is a month build.
Which is wild.
Part-time.
Yeah. Which is wild as fuck.
Yeah.
And to me, I also didn't know what else we would need, right? Because at that point, we didn't have equipment. We talked about where it was. So I was like, well, if there's some other things or an adjustment there also. And anytime like spring hits, it's a hit or miss. Like if we're going to be busy or like when things are going to start to happen. You too,
same with
right?
me,
if the weather's very, very good, or shit.
Yeah.
For both of us, right? Our business, follows that same sort of cycle. And what did I say? Like March 1st or something is what it was, right? And like March 20th, spring, fine. But I always try to leave a buffer for things so that we're already ahead of schedule, right? So I'm like it's part of the Army, but like a super time oriented, get this done because you don't know the next mission is kind of the thing. And like complete the task, soldier kind of thing too. But there was also reasoning behind it. So putting that on there was basically because there needs to be a stop point sometime. Like, what are we targeting? What's the target? What's the goal? Same thing like franchising, but I did that because so many years coming up, I would not do that. And it would be, fuck, it's next year already. Damn, we're doing the same fucking thing. Right. And just at this point, which we've kind of all discussed many fucking times, is that we're here now. Let's fucking do that shit now. Because we've all gone like kind of long enough, or like we got enough experience. We've gone through the ups and the downs, the struggle part, the build part, all this. And my perspective now is like you said, fuck it. So if I got to be that guy, you know, but for good reason, because look what we produced, right? So I feel validated because you got it done.
Well, yeah.
Fucking great, right?
Well, and I think even for me, like in business, I think you too. Like we're not, our businesses are ours. Like I don't have partners. I don't work with other people. Like I really don't. I mean, I have, staff and employees and stuff like that, but I don't play well with others. She'll attest to that.
I mean, we both know we keep a tight circle, and everyone here knows. Also, at the house, like it's the same regular people all the time. Even at our bigger party, it's kind of the same.
Right.
Most of the time.
It's just everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like we hang out with a few people, right?
Right. Well, and I think what works best is we are so different. So it's like we're
Like the
not gonna butt
tattoos and
heads.
bikes and truck. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
well,
Very different.
But
I'm just kidding.
like with the build stuff, it was almost like I kind of knew what you were good at. You knew what I was good at, and those paths didn't cross. And that's how, like, if you're ever in business and doing a partnership, like that's how it's supposed to be. Otherwise, you just have people that butt heads constantly. It's like, no, that's your department. You handle that. No, that's your department. You handle that. And I think this is a perfect example of that and why it worked so well and so quickly.
But it is new for people
It is.
because you went for years doing it with Marty and yourself,
Yep.
right? And we're not counting, people that help or Gabe or whatever. Your Gabe,
staff.
not my Gabe.
Yeah.
But it is that, right? I had done that a bit more coming into this with the franchise stuff and doing that and just having more. And my dad too, right? I've worked with my dad, so like I've had a partner for a long time who was opposite. So I was already kind of there, but knowing, because we talked about this, that you hadn't had partners like that. And it's true. We own our own shit and have our own shit to do. We all know that, right? Yeah. It's a big part of it. And it's important because that's the livelihood part, right? This trucks make none of us money at all. It's just taking our time. For all intents and purposes, it's taking our time and money.
Yeah.
Until now we see. We didn't do an event yet, but now we're seeing the result of it, which I kind of like, I can make a really good guess. But now it's sort of really confirmed that this is a pretty fucking good idea.
Yeah.
I want to think that I've thought through that scenario prior to even saying, hey, let's do it. Right. At this point in our career, I think we can make really good educated guesses on what would work or what wouldn't and who would be good and who wouldn't. Like, you're not the only builder I know, but I'm like, no, she knows this. I said, I don't think anybody else close to me, like does the thinking part like you do and like an analytical type of like controlled business oriented thinking and then can put it actually to work.
Yeah.
That's rare, really rare. But I like knew that we just hadn't done it yet.
No, but even there's a lot of stuff of like, oh, I mean, we didn't really go at this, or at least I didn't really go at it with like open checkbook.
You can check.
Or anything, like it wasn't like, oh, let's just, just carte blanche, like whatever. It was like, all right, well, what makes the most sense to keep things like in a budget, and that just comes from owning a business and doing everything like a business might. So it was, oh yeah, we'll tackle these tasks. We'll do this. We'll do this. Oh, we can do this. Oh, we can use this material instead of this material. It's just how I do everything.
And I was happy with every single one of those decisions, starting with a budget in mind and like, because you want to do it right and smart, right? And so you're conscious of that, and that's what I knew that, right? There's people plenty out there that would be like, oh, Bob's going to put the money up for that? Bet. But you're not that in any sense of the way, right? Because I've already known the way that you think about it, and it's the same way I do. And even so, every step that we kind of talked about, like, oh, I don't know if I would do that, like stainless, right? Most people do trucks in stainless.
Yeah.
And at first we discussed it, and we're like, kind of going to be a headache. Yeah, it would look cool. I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah.
So budget kind of put us there, although like we could have, right? And then like working with it kind of put us there, like, do we really want to do this? And I would not have done it now.
Yeah.
It would not have been better.
Yeah.
Like in general terms of like what we think. In fact, we didn't like FRP for a while because we've had FRP for 17 fucking years or whatever.
I had to talk myself into this FRP.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those like, because they do make smooth FRP. But again, we were trying to stay in that
And availability.
budget, and availability was really the big thing.
Because we were like, hey, we're going to do walls in this week. Basically,
Yes.
it's kind of how each project went. Well, if there's only half of the material there and it doesn't come till next week, well, fuck. So, yes, it was more expensive, but then was it there? Then what's easy to work with? We got to think that through kind of together already with the game plan. And there isn't something I would change, I don't think.
No, and it was good to like kind of where I would maybe get hung up in my head of like, let me research this FRP a little bit more, and then I ended up like we went and looked at it and like touched it, and you're like, nah, bro, that'll work. Like we'll make it work. And I'm so glad we did because I actually think the texture of this reflects all the light in here really, really well.
I think that's what she said, yeah.
And I'm super happy with it over the like very smooth FRP. I think it.
Or stainless, literally, that everybody else
Stainless.
does.
Yeah, and the stainless.
It's because everyone else does it.
Right.
So is it as unique? I don't know. You might argue it's not.
I mean, I think we do have quite a bit of stainless in here.
But that's the point. Like,
Yeah.
we knew that would be a thing too. So, like, we're going to have that element as well.
Yeah.
Because everything is stainless, right? We didn't. So I fucking hate whatever. What is that? Like, not aluminum. It's like, they do shelves like this, but it's not stainless. It's like, fuck, we have like a few of them left in there.
This is aluminum.
Whatever. It's a metal top or whatever, but it stains and gets tarnished and like
Yeah.
kind of doesn't look good over time. And I will never do that again. Right. So I already knew we'd bring all those elements in anyway. And for what happened, it couldn't have been better. Like everything matching correctly, looking good. Man, maybe we could put a few more runner lights in here for ours.
Still working on it.
So the coolers aren't on now, but they give off a little bit more light. It's not a ton, right? So I could see that we'll probably add one or two at some point, but these shelves are game changers too. When you and Tyler were looking at this and we're like, fuck it. You were sick that day. You're like,
God.
yeah, put that shit under there. Let's fucking do it. I'm like, cool. We got him. He's going to say yes. Let's do it.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was like right before the crazy sinus, whatever the heck I ended up with.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I gotta go hang shelf. Like it was like the last bit, and then like looking at it, I was like, yeah, all right, let's put it like that. It's fine. Let's go.
And then when we turned, I was like, oh. Because at night, so, well, you were here at night. We did that night shoot or whatever. When someone's standing there from both of these now, they're immediately part of the conversation where, like we discussed. So for everyone listening, we discussed so thoroughly that we want everything to point this way, which is also not typical whatsoever, so that everyone is included in it because service is a big part of our business. Interacting with our customers is a big part. It's our differentiating factor with our sandwiches, right? So we had to think that through of typically all of it's against this wall, but we want everybody this wall. How do we include them? And they're set back so you can see them from both angles, whatever. And then when the light hits too, you know, that's why maybe one or two runners in here or something down the middle would be good to set that off like the final touch.
Yep.
But either way, it fucking worked perfectly. And then look how much space. Like there's 4 of us in here. There could be 4 more technically if we wanted to be.
Yeah.
There really wouldn't be a scenario where we would run that many people. Actually, hopefully there is that we need that many. But even like this big table, like for a food truck area, that's a big prep table.
Big prep area.
Most trucks have like these for additional prep space off of like their main line or whatever it is.
There's still a lot more.
There's still a lot more room to do anything that, you know, might come up, you know?
But yeah, when we initially walked through that workaround of everything and how we wanted, like, how you guys wanted the layout and everything, and that was super important to whoever's at the table to be able to interact through either window.
And flow going right either way.
Yes.
And down to is it 2 people running it? Is it 3 people? Can we do 4? Running through those scenarios. Like we did a lot of that, but that was us running through what we could see and then you having to apply that practically. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough on a blank canvas that we've not done before.
Right.
No architecture drawings, no engineerings, no GCs. Like I love you guys, but you know, it's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
And that's my point though. Like even the GCs and engineers and architects said this shit's good.
Well, it is.
We didn't have any drawings. No AutoCAD.
No. That's what happened.
We had me, Alex, Gabe, and Malcolm like, yo, sand over there. How does that look?
Right.
Fuck, you got a measuring tape? A fucking tape measure? Okay, put it over here.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, now I got to tell Brad this.
We laid all this out with like painter's tape.
Yeah.
You know, to see if it would work.
But it
down
does
to the
work.
Table, like down to like the table location of like, hey, maybe if we do this here and if we do this here and then
like up to size too, because the original table was different than the one you had.
We were able to up the size by just working through a few of those things. Might have drove him crazy that one time we were talking about windows, right? Because Gabe had like, at the last minute, Gabe's like, hey, that's going to be in the sun over here an inch. I'm like, oh shit. But he was right. And we needed to kind of apply that, right? And that's why it's good to have that thought in there, because we're good if we need all that thought, because we may have put them a bit closer and used a smaller table and kind of underutilized the space that we now know we have. But that had to be married with Brad being like, well, in like, as no one else knows, there's a stud like right at the end of that window, and coming down over here, we could only come so far because we needed to have some stability, right? So we have to work through those things, like us four not being builders, thinking what we think is correct. Now, can it work?
Yeah. And what windows were available to us in the time frame that we needed. Because like originally we were going to go taller with the windows, and I'm so glad we did. Like these now, it's like this is perfect.
Yeah.
It truly is. But yeah,
and we have more window size than most trucks do. Most trucks don't have two, let alone if they do have two. Now, the super custom ones might have like a big ass window spaces. I don't know if that's really a great fit for what we would have done. Because I had mentioned something like that in the beginning, and we worked through a lot of these scenarios for what we're doing. And even these windows come off. So if we want even more window space, right, we can do that, which we actually didn't do on that one. I think, remember, you took like the screws out from up there. We didn't do it on that one yet.
but we can.
We absolutely can. But we have a ton of window space actually in comparison. I mean, we scoured some fucking food trucks, and we got the most amount of window space that we could have built on this truck with our setup.
Yeah.
And to be honest, probably wouldn't ever need to go more. Would I like to see something when they were together, like a big one? That'd be fucking cool.
Next one.
Y'all heard that? But that's the cool part. There probably will be, right? Or at least some version of an addition or add-on.
Well, and that's been the fun part. Now it's like, well, if we build this, what else can we build? And then it's been fun to go down that rabbit hole of like, oh, we could do this specialty or this specialty or this, or you know, and this, like, and it just.
So as I've said,
the limit.
since you did this, if you said you had an idea, like I'd be like, yeah.
All right.
So when you can see people execute, right? So like why Malcolm gets a yes from me most of the time, I see him execute, right? He's still learning, he's still got shit to do, but so do we all. But it's like, yeah, bro, I can trust you to do that, right? So like Brad's like, hey, you want to build another food truck? Yeah, cool. Because I know that this is the return. Yeah, fuck yeah. That's an easy goal for me every time now. Right. And most people just don't get to that part.
Right.
Even with friends, like Alex had long said way before you guys for fucking ever, it's hard to work with friends because it's going to fucking get in the way or interrupt something. I'm like, but it's better though to me. It's like, yeah, you can go out and find somebody. Why wouldn't I do it with my friends? Number one, why wouldn't I? So to me, build something, like actually physically build something and have that thing. Or why not, if your friend can do it, give them the shot to do it before somebody else, right? That's how I've talked about like circle and building people up and creating a little fucking sandwich mafia type shit. And doing that, because then what comes next? Once you do that one time, to me, you can build off that shit. So it's got to be the right people, number one. But in my perspective, when we're doing it now, like we're doing, a couple franchises keep coming in, we'll be able to do whatever the next big yes thing. That's what people don't get to. Right. Sorry, that thought took a bit to get out. Like a barn dominium or another truck or whatever, to keep pushing into seeing what you can do. if you don't get there, how will you ever get anywhere or know? Right. And you have a skill set, and I knew that, and I don't, and I knew that. And fucking look. So it's crazy it might sound to people, or even during it, right? Because it's not like it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, if anybody would see this plumbing, like to Brad, that's easy. To me, like, damn, you got that all in this little fucking corner. Even the health inspector was like, oh, wow. All she sees is this shit all day long,
Right.
you know?
That was a brain tickler. I'll tell you. It was. I was like,
And we also added on in the end. So right, that time of March 1st, right? Well, then we knew we couldn't test the water quite yet because it was so
Right.
cold and shit. So we had to wait till like, what if? And then you added a fucking valve on there. You had to tighten one thing up or whatever. You had to show us how to fucking run it and all that. So all those things were coming, and I didn't know how it was going to end up. You know?
ta-da.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think I saw it at when you did the party, but like to sit here and like look at it is like, holy shit, like that makes my brain tickle.
Yeah, it was.
Just like even the things like up against the wall and like to even like think to like box it in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much to it of like, dang.
I did throw one at him, and I don't care if I'm off microphone. Ryan's awesome. He was staring at this for a bit. You know, he's got a whole bin of stuff,
Shit.
like the ones that all
Yeah.
he said it's
Like blocks.
It's Legos.
like Legos, like as a
Legos.
kid, but like
Yeah.
in big kid terms.
The
And
Lincoln model.
and he had a couple configurations going, and like he kind of moving stuff around. I'm like, yo, what's that wraparound one? Hold on a minute. What'd you do? Wait, bring that one piece back. And I don't. So what's sidebar? I don't know what any tools and shit are called, right? So 90% of the time he'd ask for something, or like I would try and say, I see it. I don't know how to say it. Bring that thing back. That fucking elbow piece. You know, or he'd be like, so he had to start calling those screws the gold ones.
Yeah,
Even though they're probably called something for real, whatever they are. I now know the gold screws are what Brad anchors things with.
He has to describe things to me. Like when I go to work with him, it's like, hey, give me this. And I like blink at him one eye at a time. And he was like, the red handle. And I'm like, got it. Say no more. I can do
That's
that.
kind of how it ended up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
Done. Got it. Say less, fam.
That happened with Dan's dude who was doing the ceiling. He asked me for something. He's like pointing over there saying it. It's a big ass tool thing he had, just like you got.
Yeah.
I'm like, dog, I'm not going to know.
Color, shape, maybe that I can.
It would be like, hey, yo, make a mafioso.
Right. No.
Gabe and Malcolm were like, bro, can you do it? Like, but they know what it is still.
Right.
That's what it is.
Every time I use saran wrap, I motherfuck you because you make it look so easy. I do it and it ends up fucking twisted around. I'm like, how the fucker do that?
Saran wrap's a fucking fickle thing,
It's a
man.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's
Brad says, not bad for a plumber and a sandwich maker.
that's. I tell you what, man.
Yeah.
Really.
That's the name of your episode.
Yeah, not bad for a plumber and a sandwich maker.
No, it is though.
There you go.
100%.
Yeah.
But that's the point.
You think we could build a barn dominium?
Yes.
All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, girl.
That was a quick yes.
No.
Yes.
Can we build 2?
So
Sure.
Yeah. We got 10 acres, man.
Exactly.
the point is that gives us a place to build things and store the things we build.
Exactly.
That's what I was just thinking.
It's kind of perfect. That's why I wanted you to go to that industry night over at Phil's. It's not a barndominium, but it's a bigger warehouse
Yeah.
that allows for these things. And like how he has it set, and he has like a front, a room, big one, door that rolls up. So like, oh, so we can pull the truck in. We can have an office. We can have a training facility. You can have anything you want over here. Yes.
All right.
Right. And a boat, right? Fit like so in a big barndominium style.
Boats. Just saying.
Those are yeses, right?
Right.
And so, to the people listening, how do you do that? Well, you have to build the thing first that hopefully creates cash flow or something to do that. Because we have our businesses. So I'm like, how the fuck do we build this one franchising, right? Then how do we create additional income and continue to do that? Well, now we know what this will do. Then we could do those things too. Right. This thing that we built this year should then pay for that thing. And if you do it right, you can kind of take that as far as you want, if you're making good decisions. That's how I see it, right? I'm like, well, shit, if we make $100,000 off this year, is a barnuminium $100,000?
Probably less.
I don't give me a budget. I'll hit it.
That's my projection for this year for this. So that.
All right.
You know,
I think we
and
probably do that. How big you want?
I'm not the builder. That
All right.
part's on you. You know, but that's what would be cool.
How big you want? 5.
5 of them.
So like, if Brad's like, "Yo, we should go do a barnuminium," yes, right? Because like I know now what will happen. It's not a guess anymore. It really wasn't even a guess to me in the beginning to trust you to do this.
No, but even like, I mean, how many times did I say like, you know, in business and life, like you have your word, and I grew up, my family had a bar, and like I was around a lot of different people, and the amount of people in my life that really like promised a bunch of bullshit, like I'm not that guy. So when I was like, yeah, I can do this, part of this was like, no, I'm gonna do this. You know, like it's just.
And I said, "Hey, I'll pay for it. I got the budget.
Yeah.
Fuck it."
Yeah.
And that is how it works. Like, it may seem interesting for people to do that, and it is though. But everything kind of is a risk. I think in life, even in our own business, right? Like we know Peppo is really good. It's still a risk to franchise to Orland.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, it still is.
Yeah.
Like Nick, Matt are good, right? It's still a risk.
Yeah.
I don't know the outcome. We can project. We can do all that. I'm going to do this marketing. I'm going to train you good.
Yeah.
You know, so, but doing it is where the shit happens at. That's where it fucking happens at. And at this point,
There it is.
The mafioso.
at this point, I am now willing to risk it a bit more because I knew that time is not fleeting necessarily, but we ain't going to be us right here forever.
Yeah.
And I went many years thinking it's just going to come. Eventually everyone's going to know how awesome we are. I'm like, oh shit. Like it does a little bit, right? Because we're well established, cool, but not to where you could go. And so that risk then turns to me like almost like a has to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the also, it's partly your fault. The way you speak about the things you want to do and have, I'm like, let's do it. You know?
I was telling Robbie, who's been working with me this week, how important it is. We were just talking about this the other day. Like, we don't really have like a friend group, right? There's not like we don't like collectively go to like a towny bar, like, you know, like we just don't. The people we spend, like, none of us have a ton of time. So the people we spend time with when we have it, like, the great thing about you guys is like you understand all the business headaches, and you know, we spend a lot of time talking about like all that kind of stuff, and even just advice or like, hey, I got this thing coming, like what are your thoughts on that? But you guys are also driven like we are, and I think there are so few people that may say they're driven, but they're really not. So it's nice to see people that are equally driven, and when you find those people, you want to hang out with them and you want to do stuff together.
Almost like push you more. Too.
Yeah, like it
100%. When you said you can do it, I'm like, oh shit, I better also perform on what I said I could do and bring it to the table also, right? I love that part.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a ton of that challenge in our life, being our own bosses and shit. I tell her that all the time. Like, I need to be surrounded by that a little bit, because like it doesn't happen. So when like there's a yes, I'm like, oh.
Well, hold on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do? I build a fucking binder. I'm like, all I know how to do is build a binder with notes. I got this, you know. But it makes sure it's kind of on point, right? You need that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take notes, so you're the guy that does. So that's why it works.
Do you see? Yeah. It will be fun after this year of getting through this to look back at that. Like what initially, like prior to, 'cause I kept everything.
Yeah.
What I thought would happen, what did happen, and then the result of that in between. Actually, just as well as listening to the first podcast we did probably like almost a year or two ago at the house. I would love to re-listen to that and be like, did we talk about that then and we did it? Which is probably 10 things, I bet. Since then, because that was like an earlier on thing we did, kind of cool. It was
We were friends, but not like we weren't like fucking. Besties.
and it was like very
Now we're, like,
business
eating,
and I would love to. I'm going to.
I know in Florida.
Well, the one in Florida was more recent that made this kind of
Yeah.
solidified, happen, right? But that, yeah, I mean, that was still 6 months ago. And I bet in there, we're like, we're going to get a food truck. Little did we fucking know.
Yeah.
Just a month later, you know, actually like, oh shit, we're going to
Yeah,
buy a
but
fucking.
like that was 6 months ago. We're like, oh yeah, we should do a food truck. Oh yeah, let's go look at this stuff. And
Yeah.
now we're the next podcast we're doing together is in the food truck that we all built.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
Like that's
You know what we should do? We should
That's a
clip.
flex.
We
That
should
is.
clip. It is 100%. Like, and there's like no part of me that's like, not arrogant, but it's not arrogant about it. Like, fuck yeah, that's a flex. Basically, like, listen, motherfuckers. What I should do is when I listen back, clip a few parts of it out, and then put it together
put
with
it-
what we actually did.
Yeah.
Like, kind of how it works. But what happens is, I think people don't know the time frames, right? If you say something, it doesn't mean it's gonna fucking happen right now. This kind of thing, first of all, a $50,000 budget is hard to just do. Number one. Number two, finding someone to do it, let alone actually doing it, and then being able to go use it. Because anybody can have a great food truck idea, but are you gonna be able to use it? Are people gonna like your product? Like, well,
Right.
all the other things with it. And then we did. And so, but it still took a while. Like, to us, it took a while. The build didn't, but the cultivation of the idea.
Yeah, but even from the time, you know, got the truck and get things rolling, kind of figure out where we're going to build this at, you know, like, yeah. So yeah, maybe
that was a big part of it.
that's why the build, like, yeah, we did it in 4 weeks part-time, but there was so much planning up to that point. So then when it was go time, it was like, oh yeah, this has all been figured out.
Yeah, kind of, because unbeknownst to most people is if we didn't even have a place to build it. So we bought a food truck, said we're going to build it with nowhere to build it in the middle of wintertime. So that's number one. Number two, most of it we did. I mean, a bunch of it we did do outside, just like random as fuck.
Yeah.
Because we had to.
Yeah.
Like to stay on time and just continue a little bit of momentum, whatever. Would most people? I don't know. Because some of them days were cold and shit. We're like, fucked early or whatever. Or like cutting these windows. You're like, well, we're just going to go ahead and do this. And luckily that day was nice.
Yeah.
But like, we didn't know.
No.
And we didn't know what things would make mess, do it inside the shop or not. Because we still
Right.
wanted to be conscious of his space because it's a beautiful space. So that right there just says like, fuck it. Like, we'll figure it out.
I think that's the biggest thing too, and just generally in business, like how many times are you like you kind of push that up, because if you just start doing it, you're gonna do it, and then if you set that deadline, and then if you kind of push it, it gets done. That's the biggest, I think, lesson takeaway from this was like, all right, we're gonna do this. We have a game plan, and then you just start doing it. So then you have no choice, you know. Like, yeah, we gotta cut windows today to stay on track. Like, we're cutting windows, and yeah, it was kind of nice that day, thankfully.
Thankfully.
And cut 2 holes, gaping holes in the side of a truck. It was fine.
No pressure.
It was
pressure.
fine. I swear. But that day specifically to me, cutting the window made it like, this is a food truck now. Everything else was, right? Fine, cool.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Windows in it, that day for me was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
now.
It's real. Then it was like, big progress point.
and there's almost like no going back at that point, because up until that point is like, yeah, it's a box truck. If this doesn't work, we'll just sell our marketplace and sell it as a box truck. But like, now there's 2 holes in the side of it. Like, we should probably do something with it. Yeah,
Now it's an $80,000 to $100,000 food truck.
Yeah.
Is really what it is.
it is.
And it's a fucking badass one. And not a single person said otherwise. And it's not just them blowing smoke, like from the public.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's
pretty good.
She's nice.
Yeah.
Wait till the next one comes out.
When?
I don't know. When do you want to start? Yeah, we should.
Well, Orland is going to come first. Oh, Bedford Park's meeting with us next week.
Oh.
And Oakland. So
Oh.
the Bedford Park guys got a hold of me and said, hey, we want to come in. They're like, asked me first if Orland was open, because I told them about a month ago that we signed the first franchisee going to Orland. We have to see that through first. I can't plan the next one yet without any dates, hard dates for this one.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, cool. Well, we still like to meet and get a letter of intent or letter of interest or whatever.
Sure.
I'm like, cool. But I didn't hear anything back. And then yesterday, maybe the day before, he's like, hey, me and my partner want to meet you at the store. Are we able to go to the Orland one and see it? Or can we meet out here? I was like, well, we do have the keys there, and they're starting like a pre-permit demo permit. Do you ever heard of that? Yeah.
Pre-permit demo permit.
Orland is giving them a pre-permit
Yes.
for demo,
I understand.
basically. Whatever that means in your world, that.
It makes sense.
But I'm like, no.
Basically, not all your permits are greenlit yet.
Yeah.
But you're greenlit enough to like, you
Yeah.
can go knock walls down. And
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But they wanted to come in and talk, which is great. So we can kind of game plan that next one. I told you to talk with Ethan and his parents and all that. But Oaklawn called. They called the store yesterday morning. And I was like, okay, well, we've talked to them before. We know that they want us there and all that.
Yeah.
And we're doing their fest and everything. They were super excited. But then the dude texted me. He's like, hey, I got an offer you can't refuse. No shit. I was like, what are we doing here, huh?
Right, yeah.
Go on.
And we had a great conversation. I told you before, probably last summer.
Yeah.
With them. And
Yeah,
like,
because
well,
you and I scouted spots in
Yeah.
Oaklawn.
Yeah. And they called back again, and texted me. I was like, okay, you're texting me now because I didn't call you back today. Like, all right, this might be serious. Well, they have a piece of property that they want to do something with, and it's part of their like renovating beautification. Like, we need to do something with this corner specifically, and they're willing to make a really attractive
Yes.
deal and stuff with it. So we're going to go Monday at 7 a.m. because he said, can you come tomorrow? Which was today. And I had Peter stopped in here because he's doing some business stuff. And I'm like, no. He's like, oh, how about 7 a.m. on Monday? I was like, y'all like on this one, huh? Because like they pushed it before, like, hey, you know, whatever. Like now you're being like real specific, real right now.
Village officials want to meet you at 7 a.m.?
Yeah, on Monday morning.
That
And they
is
want to do it
important.
today at 7. Now it's Monday at
In
7.
the morning?
Yeah.
I didn't know village guys woke up that early.
Me either.
Me either.
I can't get
So they must.
I can't get an inspection for the life of me till like after 10 o'clock.
So
I gotta
I
go to breakfast.
I
first.
wonder if they had maybe something going there and it didn't go, but like the rest of some project was happening. I don't know.
Not the Oaklawn Village specifically.
No, it's not. Sorry, that was not directed at anybody in the Oaklawn.
Unless it is. Look what we do. We're good. We're good.
Stamp it. We're fine.
Yeah. So it was cool. We really don't know what they're gonna say. What he ran me through a few things like, oh, cool, yeah. I'm like, all right, man. Well, fuck it. What's
know
cool
what
is
they're
though
gonna say.
we get a little insight, and then Bedford Park is Wednesday, so I get to see like, hey, how strong are we really talking here, right? Because now like the ball's in your court kind of thing is like a really good position to be in.
Yeah.
And so it is, to me, it's not pitting them against each other. It's like knowing what's out there. It's like knowing what's available. Like, look.
Well, and a lot of villages have, for those of you that don't know, have grants and all sorts of, they have money set aside to help specifically small businesses and areas they want to grow. And it's very beneficial. So if you're looking to open a business or somewhere, like go talk to people at the village because there's stuff that they want to do and have the capital to help back you do it, which is
important. Super,
huge.
even for us, like in a secure position, like, look, still nothing's guaranteed and we still have to be very cautious of what we do. We're in a position to make a move. Well, I mean, here's the move, right? And franchising is the move. Like now we got to do that shit to make the next move. So like you have to be really conscious of what's out there. And there is things out there. So to reiterate Brad's point, like legit, like look that shit up because it's there. And I guess we could have known that, but like it started to be brought to us last year when we kind of put this out. That's when Oaklawn like saw our like one single Facebook post. It was like, come in now. Here's what we can do. I'm like, oh. So typically only big businesses kind of know that and they can bring a lot of tax revenue. So they'll get that offer. But guess what? Small businesses is the lifeblood of everything.
Yeah.
Like 75%, I think, of businesses or whatever it is small businesses.
In most villages, especially in certain areas, they only want small businesses. They don't want corporate stores, corporate whatever.
So also I'm very conscious of keeping us, even when we expand into franchising, to maintain that connection like Orland with Matt. Maintaining that and us being heavily involved. I don't want it to ever be looked like as like a Subway or Jimmy John's, like, okay, corporate franchise, even though they're small mom and pop people that own it, right?
Yeah.
These are franchisees too. So I have a little bit of a soft spot for that. but I also don't want to be looked at like that.
Right.
Because then you are.
Yeah.
And I think we would lose something if we did that.
Yeah, it taints kind of what you've built,
Yeah.
really.
After I sell,
Well, that's
I still wouldn't want them to, but I'm not going to do it. Not my problem at that
Right.
point. I did what I was supposed to do.
Right.
right.
And I'll be totally fucking happy with that. But when we're involved, ain't no fucking way. Like it's gonna be like you're here. Or I wouldn't pick those people.
Right.
So that's why these next couple ones are gonna be pretty crucial. But that was interesting. So what I said to Alex, I don't care who's listening here, for Bedford Park, I'm like, look, if they want us there, and like as we know, Bedford Park wasn't on our list.
No, they came to you.
Yeah.
But they came heavy. Even the one meeting I was in, like that dude was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we're ready to go." I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
all right,
So I'm gonna throw something at him. You ready for this one?
sure.
I'm saying, hey, you guys want us there. That's cool. Wasn't really on our list. And Oaklawn wants us really bad, but these are both kind of close. We couldn't do two.
You couldn't,
right?
yeah.
I barely want to do even these ones this close.
Yeah.
But unique opportunities, the right partnerships, great. What I'm going to throw at them, depending on what they say, but I'm going to throw it at them. If we do Bedford Park, would you guys be willing to do a second one with us? And like kind of put that in your letter of intent, right? You want a letter of intent from me, and like it's cool over there. It's still a big risk for us. It wasn't on our list. Like it doesn't fit really what I'm thinking for us. Fits with you guys. Fits kind of what you're building, So it does when I think about it, but it gives a second option. Here's what I'm going to say. Do you guys have any interest in developing anything in New Lenox? There's big developments coming. There's a lot of grants. Same way, a lot of things going. New Lenox already likes us as well as Bedford Park likes us. That's how it happened. Would you guys be interested in looking over there with us? So like land and build is expensive, right?
Yeah.
But how do we leverage people liking us and what we want, them giving us a shot here? Well, we're giving you a shot as much as you are to us, just by the way,
Yeah.
because it's a big risk for us too. This is our brand. We have to fucking do it, right? Whatever. So will you guys take a second risk? Let's do two instead of one. Better shot at success. Fuck it.
I like it.
Fuck it, right?
Fuck it.
Because there's no guarantee. Like we're gonna have to go at New Lenox ourselves at some point, right?
Yeah.
And so who knows what, right? And luckily we've had some key partnerships kind of out there. You guys know a lot more of. It just came to me the other day, like, damn, man, like they're still coming back, right? And
Yeah.
I haven't messaged them a ton,
Which also kind of tells me, not that they haven't talked to anybody else. I'm sure maybe they have.
They
but-
own their own franchisees,
Yeah. So
franchises.
maybe, but there's an allure here to this, and there's a reason that they're pushing you, because we even talked about like, hey, maybe we kind of ramp this up and we go to some meetings and whatever, and you're like, no, we'll sit back on this, and look, even doing that, they're still, hey, yo, you know?
So I was like, well. And New Lenox
think it's
is
a great
doing
ad.
New Lenox is doing a lot of development, right? And they're
Yeah.
developers, right? And so at some
And
point they had to push it.
Yeah.
So that's me today.
And I think what New Lenox is doing fits into what they're doing over there.
I think so.
Yeah, and that location would be great.
I think so.
Yeah.
So like, fuck it, right?
And even for them, they're like, oh, well, now here's an in at another. It's a two-way street.
And the reality is, we have a couple other options. So make it really, and it is attractive. They already said good, strong offers that would make sense for most people. But again, big picture wise, man, how far can we push it? What can we get out of it? Could we just go buy the trailer, or should we build a food truck? Should we just go to Bedford Park, or should we do Bedford Park and Lenox? See where I'm going with that? Like,
Well, even when I tell people like that are starting in business, like, oh, I'm just going to do this and this and that, like they like, no, think bigger. Set your business up so that you have employees. Set your business up so that you have software, that you have billing. Like, you have all that in place. Even if it's just you're a one-man show doing a little thing, like set yourself up for bigger and better. And this is no different.
at least a vision too,
Yes.
right? So whatever it is, bigger and better could mean like that piece of software that helps you track customers, or for us the POS or something. It's helpful, and you're going to utilize it or need it at some point. Like
Right.
the experience factor, let me speed that up for you,
Yep.
because I made all those mistakes early on.
Yeah.
We both did.
Yeah.
We've talked about that extensively. And so like that's the value now of coming together, but even putting this out. There's a lot of things you could skip. Now, the struggle and hard part is kind of built in prerequisite, I think, because everybody's business
gotta
is
do it.
different. But there's a shit ton. If you just shut the fuck up and listen a little bit, you could at least skip some of it, I think.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. because I made in the restaurant space. We probably ran through most of everything you could try and run through. So that's why we think like any restaurant type of situation, we'll probably figure that out pretty quick.
Yep.
Know what's good, what's not, what to do, what to change, what works. Fucking Gabe actually yesterday. We're so for Orland, like they have their initial buy packet for like stickers and menus and whatever. So I'm like, damn, Open Eyes is going to send us a price back for how many stickers we got to get. I'm going to have to look at that with the budget and see how much. He's like, why don't you just look at how many stickers you sold last year? Like it's guts stickers, for instance. I'm like, oh shit, I could just look at the data. So look at that cool piece that the POS can tell us. Now I know exactly how many stickers we went through for 16 ounce guts and 32 ounce guts. And the information was right there. So I'm like, oh shit, Gabe. Yeah. But what happened was I got that data like right there. I was like, oh, this is great. We need 1,000 pasta stickers, 1,500 gut stickers, 5,000 roll stickers. Bet. This is great. So does it fit the budget? Yes. Oh shit. This is perfect. Thanks, Gabe. But what he also did was then I saw all the other data next to those. So I was looking for just that. But of course it gives you all the data.
Right.
So I was like, oh shit. You guys are going to love this one. Black and green olives don't sell.
They're the worst.
You needed.
I knew it.
You needed data to tell you that.
Yeah.
Not
We're right here.
So
We've been saying it the whole time.
that's where data. So we like kind of know that because we see product move or not move, right? We know when we order or not. It's very, very easy for us at this point. But what it did is confirmed what we already knew. Now I have to be data driven. Now it's not just us. Now it's not just me. I like green olives sometimes on my pizza and on my sandwiches. Now it's not just me being like, oh, Jim had green olives back in the day. I'm going to keep it. Now it's like, it's not going to work brand overall. It's not moving. There's a reason Subway doesn't have green olives. And they also don't have guts. So why are we adding additional toppings onto the toppings that make us us? So it goes down that thought process. So I'm like, dude, fuck you, Gabe. Now I looked at everything yesterday. What's moving? What's not? What's this? What's that? Chips to pasta salad are side options, right? But what happened was chips sold a whole lot more. It's easy. It's right there, grabbable. But what happened is also we don't have a picture of the pasta salad on the menu anymore. So does that contribute to it? So now it's like, fuck menu design. Thanks, Gabe. Look what you did. You know? Well, yeah. So I thought through it is what happened, but it was because of the piece of little data. So I get a good POS system, look at it. These are the things experience will tell you. Because once I started to deep dive on it, I've done this 100 times now. I just didn't do it since what I should have done last October, November or something, Q4 last year. And I looked at it now because Orland's coming up. Now I got to make those strategic decisions. We talked about menu mix. Nick, Matt were like, is there anything you're not going to bring over here? Is there anything we're going to hit heavier over here? Whatever. We just went through it. And then Gabe said that and it fucked me up because then I was 3 hours looking at fucking hard ass numbers.
It's even my software, like for a service-based business, I mean, I essentially have my own kind of version of a POS, but to be able to, at the drop of a hat, look up what I did for somebody 3 years ago and be like, oh yeah, we did this and this and this, or, you know, to be at somebody's house and be like, oh, do they get this service annually? Oh, wait, no, they don't. Or, oh, yes, they do. And just to have it in the, like that quick, as opposed to the old way of carbon copies and having, you know, a massive filing cabinet with everybody's name and folder in it, and then having to call the office and be like, hey, can you look at so-and-so's file and see if they're like, no, fuck, it's a waste of time.
But you got to see both. Now you know.
I've been through both. Yeah, I mean, I've been through, you know, when people are like, oh, you know, do you like your software? Like, yeah, carbon copy sheets are 30 cents a pop. Like, I get, you know, 1,300 customers. Like,
and then you got to go through that shit. You type in something's like name or phone number.
Yeah.
Like for us, name, phone number, email. It finds it right there.
Yeah.
Instead of me going through, like Jim used to
You
do.
can use that too for your hair, for your.
Yeah.
I can look up every service like anybody's ever gotten.
You use Square.
Square.
How do you like it?
I like it. It's worked. I've tried like Gloss Genius and like other platforms, and like I think it's been 10 years like I've used it.
Oh,
and
shit. Okay, well.
everything's in there. Like it remembers everybody's emails, phone
Yeah.
numbers. I just recently looked into like sending text messages, and it's like $10 a month to be able to send unlimited fucking text messages. And I'm like, shit.
That seems pretty good.
I do that next, you know, like
Yeah.
that's the next step.
And you have it built in right there.
It's built in, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even like starting to do like, hey, did you have a good time at the Electric Hair Lounge? Like, leave us a review. Like, sending a text through that software instead of my cell phone is like, game changer.
That's
Yeah.
how my stuff does it. And my stuff, they just like kind of, what do they call it when they unveiled, but it was like a soft, you know.
Oh, like a beta prototype?
Like, yeah, it was like a soft launch of like, hey, we're now going to be able to do like like text the day before. It's all done through the software. So you make an appointment and like you get a reminder text, which in my head I'm like, it's super easy. How come we haven't been able to do this? But whatever, they haven't. And there were some loopholes and stuff we had to go through, but they asked like, hey, do you want to be like kind of a guinea pig for this? And I was like, fuck yes, I do.
Yeah.
Because like my Dana, who's a godsend and an angel and who runs my office and makes my life a zillion times easier, would literally hand text the day before all my customers.
Wow.
So like even for her, and like she would do that, and like now she doesn't have to do that. She's so excited.
Yeah.
And yeah,
She
there's
can be productive in like
and she can do other
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a
If you
cost.
free up that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
But
cost value equation
the-
though.
and again, like, so that's business. It's all cost value. And so like she can do X, Y, and Z instead of taking all this time to do this
About
dumb
10
shit.
more customers in the time it would have taken.
No.
Absolutely.
From the
Yep.
before, yeah.
So software utilization is huge, and I think so many people don't use it or are afraid to.
Is yours
use it.
plumbing specific? Or is it like
It's-
tradesperson specific?
It's service-based business specific. So plumbing, lawn care, HVAC, electrical, like if you're, appliance repair, if you're doing some sort of service-based business, this is the software for you. And I mean, I love it. The price point is great. It's House Call Pro.
We've ran into some issues with Heartland recently.
Oh,
One they fixed finally, but that stuff that we're like asking for, or what would be in like a beta or prototype, non-existent. And it was one of the reasons we went with them is because we thought we could push it with a smaller group. And
Yeah.
like I told them, hands on, like I told them what we were looking to do, like
Yeah.
who we are and where we're
yeah.
going.
And they were like, oh yeah, we can do all that.
Yeah, no.
What I really like, even with my stuff, there's a Facebook group that's like for like House Call Pro and the users. And
You said that before. I
and-
wonder if there is a Heartland group on there that's for customers or
For everything, man.
yeah, and it's what's
Yeah.
great is the developers and everything on there. So people will chime in and be like, hey, it would really be helpful if the software would do X, Y, and Z. And they'll put on they'll call it to like a pro vote. And be like, pro vote? And like I'll read it and be like, fuck yeah, I wish this shit did that. And if enough people do it, they unveil it.
if there's not, we should make one. If there's not a Heartland fucking group, I'll start
should.
that shit. Because we need that.
Because it gives you the power, and then it also helps. In this case, Heartland, it would help them. They get real world data from their users to be like, oh, they would.
That's
like
been
this.
the biggest part of the software people developing it aren't restaurant people. So Toast had that issue. There were a tech company that happened to do it for restaurants.
Yeah.
Not a restaurant company that built the tech. It was backwards. So anything we would throw at them was like, ooh, we never heard that before. I'm like, what? How can no fucking restaurant? It's just that they weren't thinking of it.
Right.
Same thing with Heartland. Well, I've been trying to push that because we have our restaurant our way. Someone's outside, but whatever. I mean, there's houses back here too, and they're still open, I think, too. So
Whatever. Let me see if they
unless there's like something going on, like they've giving them not locked the fucking front door or something.
I went and locked it after them.
Perfect.
Can't grow.
So I try and push it to get it really good for us. One, because it's brand overall now. It's not just us. She's
Right.
can fucking handle all this shit. I'm not that great at it. Malcolm's pretty good at it. Leandra's pretty good at it. The franchisees aren't going to be. So like, how can we make this a little bit better so she doesn't have to field every single thing, and it's just kind of built in the way we need it to work.
Yeah.
No workarounds. No like, well, we know how to fix it over here. And we ran into some fucking
What
issues.
sucks now is like you kind of really got to like pull the trigger one way or the other. 'Cause
We did, yeah. We just said, fuck it. We'll commit to this.
Yeah.
We brought Toast back in, actually.
Oh, you did? Yeah,
we
cool.
reached out to Square again. And just overall where we're at now. So the biggest one was they overcharged us on our credit card rates. They didn't honor their contract at first.
Oh.
And because we look at everything, she knew. And
Alex, can you run my business for me?
hey, I mean, just show it. Look at the data, right? Like we'll show you how we found it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was a part. If we're not on top of that because of one, who we are and wanting a profitable business, right? Because we're trading valuable time. Let's maximize the shit out of all of it. You should do that. But now everyone else matters too because their success is our success. And when she's looking at it, I'm like, hey, this went up. And she shows me then. And like she saw it like the first time, but like didn't say nothing. Just like maybe this month we just did X amount more of American Express because they charge a little bit more, whatever. But then it was like again. So now we start to be like, okay, now it's a pattern. Now we got to check this out. And so we did that and we looked and we're like, oh shit, this is not at all correct. And then we brought it to them. They're like, oh, well, let's check into that. It took another month. Like, and we were fucking right. But it was that on top of also pushing it with like the actual like POS system itself that we were trying to push. But it all kind of happened at the same time. We're like, man, fuck this. Not good. So now they fixed one part.
And for the food truck, we needed another.
And for the food truck. So we're like, well, let's test a separate system on here completely. One, because we want to check all of the data. But two, what if it's better?
Right.
Now we can have a real world experience, not just guess. We utilize Square too, just for offsite stuff sometimes. So she built it out a little bit on her iPad to test if we want to. That one probably is what it's going to be for the first part, is using Square here and let's see how it actually works versus there. Let's compare credit card rates. Let's compare functionality, all that, and let's see. But Heartland will start with Orland for now. It's just going to be better overall because it's very built out right now. And this won't be, but it will give us a good indication where at least we can fix it with 2 instead of 5 or 10. And so a lot of these things will happen early on because we don't have it all figured out. As good as we are and how much we've ran through lots of things, there's still a ton out there, right? To know and work through. So, all of it is learning. What I'm super excited for is one, we get to run this, we get to test that. Now we're going to know, right? Because even 10 years ago when we had Tinley, that gave us a ton of good insight on what to do. It's a different landscape now with tech, with ideas, with vision, what asset we have to push that store and this store. Like, so it's a real big difference. And that's all going to happen right now. So that first one, we were going to run a quick anniversary party here and do samples off the truck out in front on like a Saturday and just like hammer the day just to get eyes on, get people out before summer and busy. Yeah. You know, because we have folks on Orland, their grand opening, whatever. And then the events for this. So like that still might happen.
It'd be a good run through just to.
That's what we thought. Plus here on site for any adjustments or things we need. Yeah. And just give samples out. But like, look, how we get as many people out here. Cool. Come get a free sample off the food truck. Now book us.
What day is it?
It was targeting like the 26th or 7th or something. It was like,
Will you have the mafioso?
It's a free sample.
On the food truck, no, but for you guys, I think so. I think I'll ask
if I need to put it in my calendar to be in the area.
So it's on our calendar as tentative. Nothing else has come up though, but we just wanted to make sure. And then put it out. That was the first thought. And then Andrew will be the first one, actually.
Oh, cool.
You know, Stag's still going to get back to us. They haven't yet. So, whatever.
Stag.
Huh?
What the heck, Stag? Let's go.
That's what I said. It's exactly what I said. And I wasn't quiet about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either.
Yeah. But whatever. Andrew came through. So, fuck yeah. Because we have the connection there, too.
T-bolts.
So, that one will be the first official-ish good test run. And then, like, you'll be super busy. But look, if you're driving past, bro, come, right? You know? And this why I said he should get, did he tell you get built by Brad stickers? Or
no, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, the same skateboardy thing you did? Yeah. So, like, the same kind of thing because that was fucking, is it on your hat? Yeah. That. But a built by Brad because you could slap that bitch on anything.
I could. It is.
Yeah.
BBB.
Triple B.
A+ rating.
There you go. Oh.
You should have an A+ on your shirt.
We could do like faux like better business like I don't know. There's so much. How much time we got?
Yeah. So that will be the first cool run. So we have a whole list going. Go ahead.
To double back, we can talk about that, but just before I forget, push Heartland too on with the credit card rates of how quick they release that money into your account. Because you did, okay, cool. Because I did that.
They were taking 2 days and then we pushed it to the next day.
Yeah, I was like, hey, motherfuckers, like, yeah.
And there was also a programming issue that they just had it set wrong. Like, because it can go. You know, you may pay extra for it today.
Yeah.
You can get it tomorrow or. As they set up for us 2 days later. Well, cash flow is important. We do thousands of dollars a day. Like what the
Same thing with fees.
Yeah.
do it taken out every single day, which we did start with. We started taking out monthly. I'm like, no, just do it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, that even for me, like, cash flow's king. So I may, you know, there's times where I'll, you know, spend a bunch of money to get a bunch of material, do a big job, and somebody's like, oh, I want to pay on a card to get my points or whatever. Like, yeah, cool, great, I don't care. But I need that money in my account because I got to do payroll, you know. So that time, and if, like, as you guys know, like, if they pay you with a card on a Friday, sometimes you don't see that money until Tuesday.
Yep.
You know, and you're like, okay,
Or how much fees actually come out, and we don't charge that extra fee like some restaurants do,
don't
right?
either.
It's been like
Sorry, I'm not paying that shit. My customers pay that shit. It's a 3%. Like, to charge the card, like, I'm sorry.
in a lot of places, cash or credit, right? And they'll roll it in or something.
Yeah,
And
I
there,
don't charge a fee. I just raise my prices.
so there's other ways to do it.
That's the same
They
thing.
can also just
It is the same thing,
the same
but it
thing.
makes the customer's perspective feel better.
People ask, they're like, do you charge a fee? I was like, no, I don't. But,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
it's covered. You know, I mean, it's in your.
Yeah.
I run my numbers a lot. It's in your cost of doing business. I'm like, oh, and they're like, oh, your pricing went up. Like, yeah, it did.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Like, look at the market we're in.
Yeah.
Sorry, like our beef. So, U.S. Food's coming in on Tuesday too. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we have a meeting, but they're coming in because like our food costs are fucking crazy. Plus now we're doubling our volume. So, what are you gonna do? Because I'll go to somebody else.
Yeah.
And because the one fucking driver, I have a lot to talk to them about. It's all good, and John is awesome, our U.S. food rep guy, and he's bringing in his boss. They're really good because they know what we're doing. He's been with us for a long time. But the food costs are fucking crazy right now. Like, it's very high right now.
Same with my material costs.
Yeah,
My colors, like, used to be $6 a tube. We're up to fucking 10.
there you go. Right, that's what, like a 40%,
And I use like
35-40% increase.
Yeah.
How would prices not go up? Like, legit, how would it? Plus, then when you excel in your business, like, you're getting better too. Like, there's a natural upswing that happens. Yeah, progression. It's what it is. Sorry about it. And so what I've been on lately is I used to care about people saying something about the price. So we're not the cheapest. I got it, right? But that also means, one, they don't value the product. That's like number one. Number two, you don't value like us as employees and staff having to pay people. Do they even know we pay people more than minimum wage and that we give salaries to like both of our managers plus Alex plus me plus Jim? Like, that's to take care of them. That's to give them an opportunity and a shot in this industry, right? And then there was a third thing. Oh, and then using actual quality product, right? So like, you don't value any of those things. Thanks. So like, you don't like Subway because they're corporate and you don't want to support us because it's higher price. Well, what the fuck?
Right.
Well,
I always tell people, like, if I could charge you half this, I would. I was like, these are what my numbers are.
I run my numbers a lot, just like you said. Like I keep it in my percentage. Like, it's not up to me if the fucking market of meat goes up. What the fuck can I do about that? Or that onions were $100 a bag. They're usually 30.
Yeah.
What the fuck can I do about that?
Right. No, and like my business insurance went up. You know, like, it's a cost of doing business month in and month out. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I don't control that. You know, like, it is what it is. And all my parts went up. Everything's gone up. Fuel's high. Like, it is.
Thanks, Biden.
Yeah. Like, it is what it is. It's like, shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry. I gotta pass. You know, if you want me to continue to be in business, this is what I have to charge to do this. And what I've learned is I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm pricing myself. There are people like, man, I'm going to call around. Actually, I had a guy today. He called back today. He had a pool put in. They ripped through his system. I gave him a quote. He called the office. He's like, yeah, that's a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. And Dana's like, yeah, I would call and get some other prices for sure. Like, don't just use us. He did, and then he called us back. It's like, okay.
Well, here's what they'll run into, like in my perspective. So for your business, they can call somebody else and that guy's going to fall in their pool. That's what you'll get.
That's right.
That's what you're going to pay for, right?
And that's the thing. You know, it's like, well, we're licensed, we're bonded, we're insured. I'm a union company. Like, all this stuff. Like, you're, you know, but yeah, sure. Find a guy that's going to fall in your pool or damage something or flood your house or do whatever. And it doesn't have insurance or,
Yeah.
you know, and then what?
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, you saved $30. You know,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Yeah. And that's the point. Like, we both, all of us in here, try and do things right and at a higher level, right? And there's a cost associated with that. Just like having a nice car, or a nice boat. Like there's a cost associated with that, but it's better. Like the end result is better, right? It is what it is. And most of the market does know that, especially if they've been with us a long time or been with you a long time, come to you always, right? There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
That's what makes me cool with it. So I'm like, I know, so we're good. So, and it's not often people don't complain much about the price at all, but it happens. I used to care. Now I know the value, right? Before I was young, it's like, oh my God, everything, I feel everything. Now I know the value.
I got enough people that they don't. And the ones that don't, put my card on file, I don't care what it is, just come here and do it. Those are my people. Like I want 1,300 of those people.
Yeah.
I don't want the people that, oh, that's $10 more than,
So one thing,
Sprinkler system, bro.
yeah,
$10 is
I know.
gonna
And
make
that's
it, like,
the craziest thing about the bulk of my business doing lawn sprinkler work is like, it's a luxury item to have it. It's not like,
for sure.
like, dude, you want to save money, go get a hose. Go
Especially in Homer
go
Glen.
Out of all the areas I service, their water is, it's like gold. It is insane. But
Yes.
yeah, I know you guys know. Like it is insane. It is insane. But yeah, like you want to save money, go get a hose. Go get a little back and forth dilly do. They put it in your yard. Like I'm not twisting your arm to use this luxury item for your nice house.
You called me.
Yeah, like, you people called me. That's my take on it now. And I was like you. I used to get really offended, and I would try and be like, let me give you a deal, or I'll cut you a break, or not charge people what I should have, and be like, they don't.
And then it hurts you.
It does. And
Exactly.
at the end of the day, I'm the one that suffers.
And you're eating the money.
Yep.
And I'm eating the money, and they don't know I didn't charge them for that extra part because I felt bad.
They don't know.
They don't.
And that's what sucks.
Yeah. And then I don't know.
That's the cool thing about listening to people who've been through it. Mm-hmm. Because everyone will try and do that.
Yeah.
Because they'll feel it too early on. The last thing I'll say about that topic is I used to look at that as like, damn, if we lose a customer, we may lose sales.
Yeah.
Even if sales go down, but profit is steady or goes up, that's what you want, because that's what you actually get to take home.
Yeah.
So when I started to actually look at it, yes, I want sales to go up, because then if you can bring profit with it, great. That is the goal, to get and keep all the customers. But when I shifted that little bit to be like, so during the COVID time, and when I got real serious about growing the business, and we knew this before, I just looked at the data better. I looked at, well, hours went down, things went down, profit was up, sales then went up, revenue was up, everything remained the same. So even if we had a dip, our numbers are pretty dialed in, so we'd be good. And actually, we aren't doing more work for the same amount or less. That's when it becomes a game changer.
100%. And
Quality over quantity.
and it took me a long time to realize that, of like, oh, I could do work for less people, charge more, profit is higher, and my workload is less. Oh, why wouldn't I do that?
Right. And especially because you have the service, and so I mean, like the customer service and the quality service to back that up.
Yeah.
That move is correct for you. You do hair better than anybody else out here. That move is correct for you. We then think in sandwiches in this fucking truck. That move is the move for us, because then we'll build up that better one that gets that exact result. So if you don't do that good, then maybe you can't, but we fucking can.
Yeah.
And it's still fair. At the end of the day, it's still fair for what you give them in return. When we pull up with this and give you a dope ass sandwich that everybody likes and you get to talk about it, that was a fair exchange.
I used to think when people were like, oh, you're done already, that they were upset about having to pay me. Like, no, they were excited because now they can go do other things. So they're very happy to pay whatever I'm asking. But I wasn't there all day. I didn't mess up their house. I didn't do it. Like, yeah, you're paying for 24 years of experience, and I can knock this out quicker than anybody. Like,
Yeah.
And they're happy to pay it, because to them also time is money. They don't have to sit around and wait for the plumber or the sprinkler guy to finish whatever the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's how we kind of approach anything from this point in experience and where we're at today.
Yeah.
That gives me great confidence.
Yeah.
Because now we're confident and not worried about it, because we know. Like when you feel it. Yeah.
Cool.
Hour 30.
Cool.
Yeah.
Neat.
Neat. So hey guys, check out the food truck. That's Brad.
yeah.
Accurate Plumbing. Skyler's over there. Electric Hair Lounge. Shinley Park. Alex is definitely not on camera at all. She's over here. Y'all know. But really, I hope you took a little bit from this. I'm gonna fucking go back on those other podcasts and rip out some of those things that we said we are gonna do or whatever it was and did it.
It's the power of
Actually, you weren't even in your salon at that point too.
No,
So I bet you talked about some shit like that.
6 months ago, I was working for someone else.
By the way,
Break.
the next one has to be over there because your spot's dope. And I've said that
yeah,
since
yeah.
the fucking
Yeah, yeah.
beginning in that front fucking spot.
Yeah,
We should do a
do
fucking
it.
podcast here.
Yeah.
we should.
So for the first one, I'll rip off Peppo's based food truck things of what we said to do. The next one we do there, we'll rip off those clips, and it would be like a short thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be
I don't even think the very first podcast, like food truck, wasn't even on the fucking like the very first one at your house. Like that wasn't even on the agenda.
well. That's even better.
That's
Yeah.
our
That's
very
even
first
more
one.
like oh shit! Like a whole thing was developed. A whole thought
Yeah.
came real.
The Florida one. It was on the like, hey, we're doing this. Let's go check it. Let's dip our toe in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I have to look through both of those.
Yeah.
But I bet we'll find a bunch of nuggets
Well,
that actually came full circle.
I think it was in my
and-
suite, the very first one, and
Yeah.
then I worked for someone. I took a break. I was like, let me go work for somebody, and that doesn't.
That was on
Bad idea.
the Florida
That was
one.
Florida.
Yeah.
So they're, so the first one would be your. Damn, there's been a couple steps then.
Yeah.
Quickly
Yeah.
into progress. Yeah.
Well, in the next one, when we do this at the suite, we may have
have
this
suites.
the spot next door. You know?
See?
I wrote that up on the way here, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
So then let's do that for sure.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that the fucking first day we went there, probably.
Yeah.
As soon as you blacked that, was it blacked? No, you blacked that front part out, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We murdered everything.
And then we came pretty much early on, right there. I was like, black brick.
You took pictures. You're like, this is a
You're
dope
like-
Yeah.
spot. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
and
Black.
It's like it is. Even from the last time Alex was just there Wednesday, but even from the last time you were there, like it's totally fucking different.
Yeah.
Like we've got so much more shit in there, and I'm pumping out merch like it's
Yeah.
like another full time job. Like
That's another part that we talked about
Yeah.
just a few months ago.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it, I'll buy this machine thing, right? I'll do these things, right? And then there you go.
Fuckers today.
So how about this?
Clients.
Yeah.
Whatever we look back from today, there'll be another one, I guess, the same time next year, let's say,
Yeah.
and see what it is. We should make that a progression.
Manifest.
Should.
We're manifesting full
Every 6
suites.
months?
And it could be sooner because we talked about doing a bit more things. Like summer's gonna be tough, but a minimum of then to look back and actually marry that up, because the people listening to this today might not have listened to that other one, right? When I put that out though, it starts to confirm like the shit we say is legit, and that's half the reason I started this podcast, for somebody to like, one, check me, right? I'm gonna put this out there. Now the world knows. It's just like I always tell everybody, we get audited every year now. Like check the shit, check the stats, right?
Yeah.
But I want to do that to put pressure on myself to say the accurate shit and then to do it.
I feel like Alex is in that corner with the audit, like fuck it, bet.
Yeah. Right.
Look at my work.
I mean, yeah.
Well, even like this truck left here, this spot that it's currently parked in, is a old box truck. All your employees, all your staff saw it. It was like, oh yeah, they're gonna build a food truck, cool. A month later, it rolls back and looks like this, and they're like, oh,
They're like, whoa.
yeah,
That's why I wish that rap was on for my fucking reveal. Oh, it would have been.
Even without that though.
Even without it, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
It was exactly what it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
for sure. And again, that's a timing thing that we just didn't know. And how about that? That was an interesting part of this thing, this fucking rap, how it was going to end up, what it was going to be, the cost of it, then to what it actually was, then to switch to somebody to the other Interesting.
But I think that's business in a nutshell.
For sure.
It's oh, this doesn't work. We got to go this way, and you have to do that. That split decision, and you don't get flustered by it. You can't be upset or throw things or complain. It's just like, all right, fine, all right, we'll go this way. All right, like that's. Everybody's like, how come you're so calm? It's like that because it's that every day. Like every day, it's constantly like, oh, that didn't work. We'll go this way. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you're just like, all right, whatever.
Or like
Figure it
Sarah lose something, so call her off.
out. Yeah. There you go.
But either way, one last part. It's always one last part, right? Until it's not. But
Have another ghost. Go ahead.
I gotta drive my dad.
I gotta work tomorrow.
I gotta drive my dad to the airport at 6:30. But whatever.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, totally.
Where's he going?
Where'd you go?
Seattle. That's where they always.
Say
Yeah.
somewhere warm.
They're not.
No, they're doing a road trip this time.
Then why are you driving to the airport?
They're flying into Pennsylvania first and then doing a road trip all East
Oh.
Coast.
Oh,
I was gonna say.
That's what they're doing.
all right. I don't know why I asked you. I should have just asked Alice. That was my bad. Okay.
We know how this goes, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the rap. Last part is also when it came in and they're like, "Yo, it's gonna be like 15,000 or something." I'm like, doesn't fit the budget. Like I had to stick to that, right? So we want a return on our investment, right? You put in all that time, and I told you there'd be something back. I put in the money. I definitely want something back. Like,
Right.
look, dude, it's not gonna work. Like, what do we do now? Then we get creative. It's the same thing we applied to everything. It's like, shit, that's not gonna work. But you can't lose your fucking mind. Because at first I was like, oh shit. All right, now what?
Yep.
It's like how you have to fucking use every single day for us, as well as you guys. There's something like to deal with. And then when you go to the next level, they're bigger, deal with it. Or time sensitive, deal with it now.
But I think these little makes the bigger ones just like, yeah, whatever. Like it's like the you do it 100 times over. So it just becomes second nature to be like, yeah, okay. Like whatever.
I really hope that's how Orland build goes. Because
Should.
I'm over that contracting, engineering.
Already?
Oh yeah, we ain't doing this version again.
All right.
That packet's gonna be done.
All right.
And it's gonna be handed off. Do that.
Do that.
Because we went through this enough.
Yeah, it's
Enough. On that note, I fuck with you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you guys spending time to do this.
Yeah.
It was dope.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
Hour and 36. Good shit.
Cool.
Goodbye.
All right.
Fuck it. This is the Uncensored Podcast with Robert Peppo.
Do you think people